Hi, I'm Hannah Jaku. We bring you a 4-part special series here on Scope of interviews on stories of Papua New Guinea's response to COVID-19. In this episode, we begin in the Central Province with food security. Global economies came to a grinding halt when borders closed and millions worldwide watched helplessly as an unknown threat emerged from Wuhan province in China, and unbeknown to travelers silently crossed international borders, infecting people across the world. This was the discovery of the coronavirus COVID-19, and Papua New Guinea was no exception. When this threat reached our shores, it would take the government a delayed reaction to fully understand that the illness could spread quickly. While the Papua New Guinea-Indonesian land border was shut in January, Jackson's International Airport would follow suit in April. With the initial 14-day lockdown, there was a cease of all public transport, including the closure of local highways and domestic travel. When this happened, the supply of agricultural produce also stopped, and city residents felt the impact, but more so the locals who survive on the sale of their gardening. COVID-19 and the imposed restrictions meant vegetable growers in the Central Province were left with an abundance in harvest and no access into Port Moresby markets to sell their goods.
About life changing and life hard too. It's not easy. It's getting worse.
It is one of the things that has affected our community because we depend on store goods.
The moment now, right, the conditions that we are facing is really hard now. So, like I said before, we're having big problem here.
In Inawaya village, where the people come and barter their goods. It's a pleasant drive here along the Hiritano Highway, where the roads are nicely sealed. We arrived around 8 a.m. on this Thursday and watched as sellers moved about in an orderly fashion, respectfully and patiently, finding a space among other sellers and setting out their produce.
Hello, they're taking our shots.
Bananas are plentiful, many varied breeds. Then there's fresh fish, smoked fish, plates of prawns, cooked and fresh crabs, clams and smoked wallaby. An old man sits tying his catch of crabs slowly. He has done this many times. After about an hour, the bartering began. Mostly women, eyeing the bunches of bananas and calling out to each other to entice a trade. They jostle, they hustle. Though the city limits are not too far off, it's a different way of life out here. For centuries, the people have managed to survive and still did, despite the nationwide restrictions within city limits just hours away. This isn't just a marketplace, it's a cultural event. Young men wander around, children are seen helping their mothers display their best harvest, first in the hopes of finding some fish or crabs for mealtimes, and the elders chew their betel nut and swap stories of each other's villages, regaling tales and happenings, and no doubt discussing this latest sickness that caused them so much strife. A local magistrate says they live a simple life and it continues. They don't have time to be bothered about this sickness. They have families to take care of. In our next story, we'll look at the struggles of villagers in Hula. This trip took us also along the Muggy Highway, still in the Central Province, and just about 2 hours out we came to Hula village and its main market. Tuesday and Thursday when villagers come from Kalo, Makerupu, Hula, Kamali, Babaka, Alewai and Irupara. They come to sell their garden and seafood. The village clerk of Hood Point Village, Karavui, says this market serves an estimated 20,000 people, and many commute regularly between their villages and Port Moresby, not only to sell their market goods, but to stock trade stores with supplies. He says nor did much government help reach them.
I was thinking they should come around, see for themselves, assess the situation, and from there they can move on, like to support the informal, especially our market, and like try to help them with small loan, like in terms of SME. Mostly, let's say food. Food is one of the things that has affected our community because we depend on store goods, and when we had the lockup, it was really bit hard because we had prices really going up, like most fishermen. I think it really affected them because especially the markets in town were all closed, and people find it difficult to bring their fish down to fish market in Koki. So what they did, like they sold their fish here, but it was really, let's say, the prices really went down. It really affected them. Okay, for Hula, we didn't have anything. There wasn't any program like coming and buying food stuff. We had that in the news, but it never eventuated because we didn't see any of the officers coming around to buy our fish and our food here. We only had that the program was only at Babagarubu and the villages going up that way to Kemabolo and Balawai area, but not in Ula. Weekends it should be full, and like in the afternoons, that's when like other villages come down to buy fish and all that. We see that market should be full, especially in the afternoons. It's crowded, and during the weekends, it's just happening slowly now. Like people are getting back to normal, but like especially for some of the workers in the village have been laid off, and they are staying here and just waiting for their companies to recall them. My son has withdrawn from the college due to that time the course. He's at business college and he withdrew, and he's trying to go back next year because of the time factor. Like squishing one semester in 3 months is too hard.
Grace Geller, a mother of 6 and grandmother of 3, sits here at Hula Market to sell what her husband catches overnight. Tried her best to explain how COVID-19 affected her family and many others like them.
We are struggling. Outside we struggle, but at easy place like like fishing, we come normal. Like it's helping our family. Like my children, only few works, but some in the village. So this time when what will I say, time for COVID, we find struggles like going past like roadblock and like non-stop, stop on and on. Life come like it's simple before, but now it's very hard.
860 na.
The story of struggle was common, people merely trying to survive, raise families, educate children. What little they make do with became even scarcer when a foreign virus compounded the hardship. Young mother Wakia decided that day to come to this main market to sell. She usually sells at Kiapara village, making this trip to increase her chances to sell more of her goods. Welcome back to Scope. Every afternoon, PMV trucks like these ones behind me load passengers to make the 6-hour trip to Port Moresby. Otherwise, they're up as early as 4 a.m., taking people and produce destined for markets all across the nation's capital. Food that you and I are lucky enough to buy fresh every day, or bitomat, a cash commodity that's not only a cultural habit, but a livelihood and an addiction. I spoke to one driver, Samson, who shares his struggles of life every day.
As you can see, from traveling from Moresby coming to Apanaipi, from Berena to Apanaipi coming here, the road conditions are very bad. And I hope our government should know about this and look at these conditions of the roads so they can at least maintain it so that we can run smoothly.
What's most evident being here and listening to what hardships are faced is that very little information had been disseminated on the dangers of community transmission, social distancing, face mask wearing and sanitizing. What is known that there is a sickness that has come into the country and people have been told to stay in their villages and homes. It's a simple life they have out here in the Gulf province for their local members of parliament to frequent their electorates and listen to their concerns of the people.
Before COVID, we travel, we travel in the nights and daytimes. We travel about maybe 5 to 7 times moving up and down. But at the moment when we having this COVID-19 came in, we sort of like it's really spoiling us. We have our children to feed. We need to have a good allowance and also. But nowadays we really get hard times. We are not really paid the amount that we are looking at. Yeah. The lowest amount that the drivers are looking at, I mean the owners of the PMV now paying is less than 500 or maybe 700 kina. That depends on the runs that we are doing now. I think the government should do something better for the people for our province here in Gulf province. The best thing that we are looking at is the road condition. If the road condition should be okay, I think that's where our people should travel normal up and down. Our province here is not moving to. Many things that in Gulf province is not really happening, that the thing that we are expecting. One of the road transport here is a sea transport, which our people from the end at Gulf province, which is in Turama, Kikori and Iu and Baimurus, they're having really hard time now. Like I said before, the PMV is here, we are waiting for the west port from there, traveling here. But since like the weather problem is like this, they couldn't turn up here in the times. That's where some of the thing that is thinking on happening to we Gulf people, we want our government to look at those people down there too.
However, what you do see is that many have heard the news, but their priority is not how to survive COVID-19. It's how do we survive every day dealing with the pre-existing challenges of the lack of government services, inadequate health facilities, and accessibility to education.
My name is Daisy. My surname is Ori. I come from Muri village from Gulf province. I have two children. My everyday life is I go gardening, marketing, and going for chats, fishing also. I produces pig, chicken, and veggies. Normally I sell them here at home and down to the town. Why I don't believe in the sick? Sometimes, like, it's something that men are proud of their knowledge and they want to overcome God's wisdom. So, I believe that God larim this sickness come up all white line, not we Papua New Guineans, because their way of living is awesome. They are well off, yes, and they have plenty of factories and whatever they omit there. So save blood to increase. So that's why I don't believe this sick. I heard that there's a killer disease called COVID-19. But the personal belief, me no believe it. For our village here, people, they are freely moving around. Their reactions towards the sick, all no got this kind belief lo this sick. They are just moving around freely. Now only know, like they don't cover mask and all that. They normally like routine of life now. Mipla Woklostapia, as well as you came and saw how we live. This is how we are living here, reacting to the sick. The most important thing that meeting mosem gaman, emas like especially for us village people. For sure, people are more busy trying to survive. They are doing whatever they are busy on. They are like normal routine of life, carrying on, rather than thinking of the sickness and all that. Meeting us, it's important for people to carry forward rather than thinking of the sickness here. Because everything, it's in God's control. Mr. Plan, big man. Now, what can men do? Man, no na poke 1 plus something. Only God changes everything. That's all.
Gulf and Central provinces suffered the most with the initial state of emergency lockdown in April of NCD. Transport ceased and the livelihoods of thousands of people was affected, without markets to sell their garden produce and sea catch. I visited Yule Island, a 15-minute boat ride off the Hiritano Highway to see firsthand.
I'm plus our hot dog lo panim islam prawns nam money net mi plakam no now san kamanta finish because lo islam abra half inch also usimium musem also barapin prawns from la prawns sem also barapin baby one also kisim nam ja wasting na behind him sa pla like kam kisim big pla one em pla hard lo panim kisim big pla one Masih nam sa panim hard lo panim prawns now. Oh em se mi pla hard now. Oh depend on one em prawns. Em plus sa kisim em plus sa panim peas na kam. Se mo kantem all family. 40 years or 30 years now mi oglo panim prawns. Mi pla stop na just panim ka garen kai na plasa kai na stop panim fish kuka slaul nem disle mo se mi pla just have more be was a member now so sa kam help him na both mi pla sa stop alright.
The frustrations of the two young men is clear in their faces and heard in their tones. They come out several times at various times of the day, hoping to net enough for each of the boat crew to bring something home for their families for meals and more to sell for some meager profit.
Okay, time mi pla stop lo ia. Emok bro mi pla campaigning prawns. Na mi pla lo ia mi pla go out do semnos mi pla solwara mi pla paining pulling all fish making bottom now pulling fish. Suppose this like making mosem kind now. Em no got turu olsem. Mi plug and go or garden or round number to narba side ken lo kisim narba osemol fish all 2.5 net 3 inch all this la kind of fish number mi pla sa kisim na okay mi pla gol semlo mospina salim but mi play no sa paini mo pla santin lo go mospina salim olgeram sel all 1 santin star lia lo solwara mi play usinta solna karim guantap lo mospina salim so this la sickness come up now mi play no go lo mospim all road na all santin all pasim now mi play stop ta solna go inchelo all line lo mi play inchelo main lane na so mi play lilik fish o se kain all sa gi mi play banana o buai one sati so mi play kai lo disla ta solna stop now yet I'm open lilik so I'm alright. Mi can travel go highway go come lo mospina disla.
But until they are able to buy the right-sized fishing nets, specifically what's known as 1-inch sized, then their efforts will be futile, because the half-inch nets continue to bring up the smaller-sized prawns and prevents them from growing to full maturity, and this is vastly affecting the prawn fishery. Our skipper for the day, John Warupi, echoed the sentiments of his fellow fishermen, calling on the government, fishery authorities, Governor for Central Province and their local Member of Parliament to address the issue of the nets so they can not only sustain themselves, but sustain prawn numbers. Theirs is a simple life and they only want to take what they need and sell what they can, their biggest expense, school fees, to educate their children in the hopes that they can have a better future.
Today living like COVID-19. We stay here around. Our grounds here, we come in here, pick up prawns and go out fishing. So what net now these guys are saying is they need only 1-inch net. So the Chinese have to sell 1-inch net, not half-inch. So that's the problem, that's the case that these guys are facing. So like today, we need government to let government that the Chinese, they have to stop Chinese from selling half-inch net. Because at half-inch, they sell, these people buy it, they come, and they get the baby ones. That's where the problem comes in.
When the sea and land provide your sustenance and an income to pay for your children's education, the negative domino effect from COVID-19 was very serious.
About life changing and life hard too. It's not easy. It's getting worse. Every day I used to come and dig my old garden, then plant new tapios, and sometimes go and look for firewood. I have plenty of programs in the village as a subsistence farmer. Like change in the village, I see it's getting more worse and harder. It's better we work hard to and plenty of food instead of doing small gardens. Yeah. Like as myself, I have 9 children. So I have the first born working in Mosby, the third born, she's in the vocational center too, and I have 5 boys near me. So it's hard. So when it's like small children, yes, we have small plates. But when they grow up to, as adults, we have to, feed more. So we have to do plenty of gardens. Finish from here, I'm going to go to my house. Yeah.
So when you step out of the city, even just on the outskirts of town, there is lesser focus on COVID-19 and more so on daily life of survival. The dissemination and awareness of what this illness is hasn't changed much of life as it is here on Yule Island. Still in the Kairuka district and in Bioto village, where crabs are plentiful in the mangroves, the traditional way of survival not only allows families to feed themselves but also earn a living.
Osem ol sista belum pla, mama belum pla saya go painin kualo. Mangrona karing kam na pla saya go ksim. Salim na ksim money. So the income ni pla saya ksim emlo disla. So all leprosy na grangkol seafood marketing.
time all find out osem all come running mampla lili workshop blom lo place. Lo last year August. So time mi pla kisindis la workshop we go finish and mi pla start kick off lo working all baskets blom lo. Bain pla look out in kuka.
So it's simple skills training that equip the locals with farming techniques that will boost their economic empowerment by teaching them how to farm smarter. The program was a success and will benefit close to 30 families.
Online mi pla lo disla workshop lo how bain pla kisim kuka kam na bain pla look out him. How bain pla feed him. So em go lo 1 kg bain pla salim. Online mi pla lo disla. So mi pla kisim interest blo disla. Mi pla start him all baskets blom pla na mi pla start kick off walk on table all baskets. Lo last year. So li kam lo disla year beginning of disla year mi pla like walk ya no gat. Sikia COVID-19 ya. Tasole mokina mi pla hol up lili lo hap.
By successfully farming the crabs, the aim is to reach the quality and standard required to supply crabs for export.
So mi pla kisim all stablo inches. 14 inch, 13 inch na all disla sizes na ba. So bain pla look out mi go ina kukaya by go 1 kg now. Bain pla salim. Below lo 1 kg 900 grams or 800 grams and bain pla look out him yet because I'm not ready. So mi pla go reach him 1 kg now and enough lo bain pla export him.
NCD is a melting pot of ethnic groups, a cohabitation of different cultures. With an estimated 1 million residents that rely on Central and Gulf provinces, any further state of emergency or further restrictions would destroy the fabric of communities, socially and economically already struggling to rebuild themselves. Next week on Scope's Road to Recovery, Episode 2, we look at border protection in the West Sepik province. I'm Hannah Jaku. Join me then.